Hello and welcome everybody to CK2 Charlemagne, Carlmander, Karl of West Francia. Carolus, I believe, is a version of as well. This man has so many names. Well, he has one name, that's King Karl of West Francia. Yet every nation around him seems to have a completely unique way of pronouncing the same fucking name. I don't know why this is. This is completely historically accurate, that being said, but I have no idea why this is so from a practical standpoint. I guess it's one of those brain fart moments for humanity. I digress. Let's get back to the topic of the video, and that is me attempting to explain vassal limit. What is vassal limit? How does it work? How do we fix it? Why is it screwed up my game so utterly, and etc. etc. Well, for the purposes of displaying what vassal limit is, I shall cheat in some cash, so like that, and what is it? The ultimate is prestige as well. Okay, so vassal limit is a new. Let's go for virtue. Just give me a minute here. Okay. Thank you. Now we've done this, I can actually get down to the video. I'm playing as Karl's brother, called King Carloman the Holy of Middle Francia. Now, this is all fine and dandy. I'm not going to be talking about the actual game, but you just start off with a claim on his entire country, and vice versa. He starts with a claim on your entire country. Inevitable is that you will fight one another as they did in reality. Karl of West Francia won against Carloman, I believe. Oh, it's not the other way around, is it? I believe Karl of West Francia won, and then he took over Lombardy as well, I think, and his heirs were utterly useless, and the guns just shattered eventually. But during his reign he was super powerful, and the Pope believed he was on his way to restore the Western Roman Empire, which was quite something. And he also defended Europe against the Muslim hordes of the Umayyads and the Arabs, aka Abbasids, breaching in through Spain. They tried through Constantinople, failed miserably, went back, tried through Spain, failed, and that's where we have Europe today, basically. So thank you, King Karl. That being said, let's get down to actually explaining what vassal limit is. I believe, it seems to me that every Paradox game I ever do a video on, I take 20 minutes to explain something about the game and completely divert off topic. Let's try and pick things up. Vassal limit is a new mechanic that they've added in with the expansion. Vassal limit basically now pretty forcefully imposes a limit on the amount of vassals you can hold. What does this mean? Well, it means that right now I can have a maximum amount of 33 vassals. How do I check how many vassals I have? And this is probably what's going to confuse a lot of the players new to the game. Here, it's this. It's nothing else. It's just this. Vassals 27. Although it says I have 21 out of stuff. Don't worry about it. It says you have 21. Let's just skip time a bit forward. So you have 21. Why does it say that? Some of them don't count, some of them count, some of the priests, some of the republics. It's a weird way of calculating how much you have occupied, how much you don't have. Each rank has its own base. So for king it's 20. The way it's calculated is diplomacy bonus and plus laws. That's the way you calculate it. As you can see there, vassal limit formula, and your base is 1, obviously. So if you get onto laws, and we can see that I'm trying to pass this law right now. Let's just wait for that law to get passed, and then we'll yep, and there you go. There's some of the events you start off the campaign with. Basically, what I'm trying to they're going to inherit the wrong place. what I'm trying to get at is, if you have a huge fucking empire, which I will display later down the line in the video, what do you do? How do you counteract this? Does this mean you can only have 33 vassals? What the fuck? Well, if you're an emperor and pass down a couple of lords, you can have more than 33. Not by much, though. What does this mean, though? How do you counteract this? Because they obviously, with this, they added an extra layer of complicity and difficulty. They've made it more interesting, the game, but they've also made it a bit more complicated. So how does one go about counteracting this? How do you play around it is what I'm trying to get at. Well, I'm going to show you how to play around it in just a minute. This is how you play around it. Okay, so let's see. You can create many titles now. They've even added some titles. So let's say you have a problem. We have let's imagine 20 is our vassal limit, and we have 21. Easiest way to get rid of that would be to click on someone and give them independence, but you want to create a huge fucking country. That's why you're playing this game, aren't you? So let's create this duchy. It'll cost us stuff, but we can create it. And we can give it to this guy. But lo and behold, we still have 21. That's normal because he holds both of these counties. Let's create another one. Let's see what happens. Kingdom of Burgundy. Although we are a king, so this wouldn't help us. If we were an emperor, we would have created this and it would have helped us. But Duchy of Savoy. Interesting. Let's give it to the Duke of Burgundy because he will be wanting it quite badly. Yes, indeed. He also desires the county of this, which we're going to give it to him. Aha! 20! Okay. Duchy of Upper Lorraine. Let's create it as well. Let's give it to this guy. 19. Duchy of Baden. Let's create it. And give it to this guy. I'm not even looking at their stats. I'm not even looking at their pleasure. If that makes any sense? Their opinion of me. I'm just doing this for purposes of tutorials and stuff. Let's create the Duchy of Bourbon. And give it to this guy, I believe. Still 19 because he owned this one directly. Whatever. It's complicated. You're not cooperating game. Give me some good examples. Let's create. No, let's not create a kingdom. Let's create Duchy of Alsace. Alsace? I believe it's Alsace. Problem is this guy owns it, but that's fine. So, we've gotten down from 20 something to 19. If we created a kingdom, it would have been even better. Essentially, the way you play around this is you create a bunch of titles and you distribute them across your empire to people of power. This means you should really not have any counts as your vassals, as they're just taking up this slot. You should all be dukes and kings. If you have a particularly large empire, having kings with 2 king titles is also an option. Basically what they've done is made it so you have to have powerful vassals. You have to have a powerful king in order to keep your country, because if you go over the limit, the amount of levy you can raise becomes ridiculously lower, and at one point if you go too high you will be able to raise 0 out of 0 troops. So you want to keep this below the limit at all times. There is no penalty for going, or there is no bonus for going like 50%, 75% of the limit. It's just keep it below the limit is all that you need to do. This made the game more interesting in that you now cannot have a count or a duke everywhere and have basically no kings or something like that. Just a way to game the game, if you will, a way to sort of cheat around a little bit from the vassal system. Now you have to have powerful vassals. And I like this mechanic. I like that there should be a limit, because you really cannot manage a kingdom that has thousands of troops and thousands of vassals. It just doesn't work like that. And in history, this is a bit of a history lesson here. In history, it was done like this as well. You would have expel your. There we go. You would create a vassal, and then your vassal would create a vassal, and this cycle would go on until you get to the common man, basically. Reason for this is... yeah, my mother doesn't like me, no surprise. Reason for this being... people are lazy, I guess. But this is how it was done in history. So in a way, there was a vassal limit indirectly in history itself as well. So that being said, I've just basically shown you how to play around it. Create kingdoms, and there you go. If you have any questions with in regards to vassal limit, I will obviously answer them down in the comments below. But it's simple. It's not difficult to maintain one king, double king, happy. You just send him a gift and you send him some honorary titles and whatnot, and he'll be happy. Just pick your kings correctly and nicely. Mind their stats, mind their traits. If someone's ambitious and zealous, you probably shouldn't be a king. And there you go. I've showed you how to play around this, and let's see what happens if you load in an old save file. I think I have one. No, actually, I deleted all my save files. Okay, never mind. But basically, I can explain this. I played as the Byzantine Empire, and I had pretty much the entire world under my control, India included. Speaking of India, they haven't fixed the revolt risk yet. It's been lowered in some places it's gone. But you try and controlling India, and in 100 years, you'll have 50% revolt risk in 90% of your provinces. That has still not been fixed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an extremely big problem. Now, just please fix that. Paradox, please fix the 50% bug due to, I think it was religious unrest or something. Even though the country turned into orthodoxy, I'm playing as Byzantine. Everything is Greek culture, everything is orthodox, and they're still revolting with Jain zealots and peasant zealots and wars. What? No, it shouldn't be there. It can't be there. It doesn't make any sense. Please fix it. Thank you. It does on the converted on the pre-patch files. I'm not sure if it does it on the new ones. Can't be bothered to play 3 months with the Byzantine Empire just to find out. Sorry. That being said, I could just probably use console commands and just annex everything, and maybe we'll find out. Doesn't matter for now, though. Yes, that would pretty much be all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned something useful, and I hope I haven't missed out on anything important in regards to vassal. Well, one thing I suppose that will be important. I just need to come on past this law. I guess this is. I've showed you what it is and what it's about and whatnot. I guess now I should show you. Pick land, yes. I guess I should show you the laws as well, because that might be useful. It goes centralization, I believe. Oh God, come on. Just pass the fucking law. Eventually, one day, we will pass this law, but it is not this day. If you hate me, why did you hate me? Stop hating on me. No, it froze. It doesn't want to pass the law, apparently. I'm going to cancel this. Fuck it. Okay, so investiture papal free. We had that before. Centralization. This is the new law, and the last thing I'm going to talk about in the video. So, centralization is basically a slider. Imagine a slider between demesne size and vassal limit, and you can slide it like this. And this is basically it. Minimum centralization means you have more vassals. Maximum means you have less vassals but a larger demesne size. Personally, I believe for building I want to say Europe-wide empires, like huge empires the size of the entire map, it is best to have minimal centralization, as the vassal limit of 10 is quite meaningful and useful. Crown authority is right now on minimum. I want to get it to low. This does not basically influence your vassal limit, and neither do any of these down here. It's just centralization that affects that. Also, this patch enables us to play as Norse Republics finally, which is quite fun, I imagine. We'll have to dig into that later. I'll have to dig into that later. I won't make a video on it though, as there's plenty of them around. It also depicts iconoclastic and... well, it does and it doesn't. Basically, I've learned about this not that long ago, between the religious struggle in the Byzantine Empire of this era. There were two groups of I don't want to get into history more, but just this quick little short history rant thingamajig, and then I'll end the video, I promise. Iconoclastic, and the other one isn't orthodox, but it recognizes it as like official other official religion, and the other one is a heresy, depending on who's on the throne. And this guy is an iconoclast, which is an orthodox heresy. Religious images and holy figures in particular must not be allowed. Yeah, there we go. That's what they believe. They were Christians pure and through, and they were Orthodox Christians. Everything, you know, the same as the others. Just didn't believe that pictures of pictures of men basically were allowed. That's due to the Sunni influence. Because the Sunni art did not allow that, and they kind of did and kind of didn't display that well here. I like how it flips very quickly and how it can very seriously fuck up your country, basically. It's not that difficult to deal with, by the way. I guess the point of the entire struggle was to make sure that your heir and his heir and his heir are the same religion. So here's iconoclast, here's iconoclast, and then eventually turn it either Orthodox or iconoclast. And then, basically stabilize the country. This is a problem Byzantine had for many, many years, and will have many, many years in the future. And the struggle between the two was financed by this guy called the Pope. Yes, he financed both sides, and he basically trying to weaken the Eastern Church. Ended up working against himself eventually in the end, as they sort of just drifted apart. But after that little short diplomacy? I'm reading diplomacy for this. After that short little history lesson, and me showing you how to deal with vassal limit, I shall now bid you farewell, kings, rulers, and presidents, and just whatever. Important people, politicians and important people of other countries. In CK2. Thank you very much for watching. I think I said that like 3 times. Please remember to like the video down below if you liked it, and subscribe for more if you would like to see more from this channel. I hope you would. Until next time, take care. And also, my apologies for going on a bit of a rant. I haven't made a video in a while, and I sort of had so much to say about the entire patch and whatnot. Kind of wanted to tie in my impressions of the patch and the tutorial. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I think it ended up fairly educational and good. Thanks for watching once more.